Holy and merciful Father and Creator of us all, please cleanse me and bless the study in Jesus' name. Amen. Hi everybody, this is Angelo Quinones and RUCC Ministries. Ministries is designed to give you dependable and accurate answers that come straight from God's holy and inspired word, the Bible. The Bible. Pospai, by the way, how's it going in modern Greek? Manishma in Hebrew, basically the same thing. And so we're looking at the full Greek construction of the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 1, and all its Greek glotte. And like I said to a friend who happens to be born again, who happens to be an ex-Jehovah's Witness, by the way, I said to him that we cannot reach, and he knows this already, we cannot reach the depths of the eternal subsistence of both logos and theos in that text, but we could reach the full Greek glory of it because it's just so simple. Basically, it's simple Greek, Koine Greek, common Greek, Greek of the common people. But sometimes we take tours. I remember a long time ago there used to be a wonderful, there was a series made by Chuck Swindoll. I mean, one of the greatest people with the gift of exhortation, Bible teaching, pastoral gifts. I mean, he had all these gifts. And he did a study called Route 66, something like that, Route 66. Maybe you might want to get it. And it's called, what's the ministry? Insight for Living. And it was a great series on the Bible, bird's eye view on the Bible. And so we're taking tours, basically, therefore, to see different verses, debates, and campaigns that has to do with us, born-again children of God, Trinitarians, by the way, and those, okay, the so-called Jehovah's Witnesses or anybody else that puts themselves against the Bible. So we're going to look at this construction in the Greek and in the Hebrew, basically, right? And we're going to see the Trinity in Genesis. And this is one of the verses that comes into the discussion when we're talking about the Trinity in the Bible, particularly in Genesis. It says over here, and everybody knows this verse, but we're going to look at the full, grammatical glory of it. Genesis chapter 11, verse 7 says something like this, quote, "Come, let us go down. Come, let us go down and confuse," or mix up in the Hebrew, "confuse their language so they will not understand each other." Okay? Very small verse, but it says, "Come, let us." Okay, there's no, listen, this is not saying something about, a king saying this or that. Or that or this. You understand what I mean? This is not the plurality of majesty. There's no word that means king here. Okay? You understand what I mean? So that's just it. It says over here, it says, "Come, let us go." Okay? Let us go down and confuse their language so they will not understand each other. Now, this is God, end quote, by the way. Now, this is God saying, something? I don't like what man is about to do. I don't like what he's doing, by the way. Okay, I didn't like what he was doing in chapter 6 of Genesis. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't like what he's doing now after the flood. I already destroyed man. I promise not to do that anymore. I set my bow in the heavens. You understand what I'm saying? Pointing out my mercy. I don't like what man is about to do. Making a tower to the heavens so they can pray to other gods or worship other gods. Worship me, says God. I don't like what they're going to do. So let me tell you something. Okay? Let us go down. Us. The Trinity. Us. Okay? He wasn't talking to an angel or angels. He wasn't talking to a creature. He was talking to the other members of the Holy Family, the Holy Trinity. Okay? Now, we don't know who was speaking. It could have been, who we now know as God the Son. It could have been the Holy Spirit. Okay? We don't know who was speaking here. This is say, the Father said to the Son and Holy Spirit, let us go down and mix up their speech. It doesn't say the Father. It doesn't say the Son. We don't know who said who, but we know that one of the members of the Holy Trinity said, let us go down. Let us go down. Us. You understand? So that's just the deal. Now, let's look at first of all, let me just get this out of the way. Let's look at the Hebrew, but let's read it again. This is glorious to the Trinitarians' taste. You understand what I mean? Now, let me tell you something. What I didn't do the other day, to my chagrin, I was studying John chapter 1 verse 18. You know, theon udes apopote. Actually, he orake popote. God, no one has seen God at any time. And by the way, I pointed out that theon is in the anartha state. In the Jehovah's Witness world, it will say something like this: no one has seen a God at any time. You see, you can't pick and choose because of prejudice. You understand what I'm saying? They're very prejudiced against the Son. You understand what I mean? So when it doesn't have an article ha in front of theos, okay, which is in a predicate position anyway, and it's definite by nature. No pun intended, because that has to do with nature. You understand what I'm saying? Essence. Child 1:1c, which I affectionately call this a serious section, because if you're born again, you're going to believe in the full deity of Christ. And the humanity of Christ, by the way, where right there it talks about deity. You're going to believe in the whole deity of Christ. Let me get rid of this. Okay? That's just the deal. Now, let's look at the Hebrew, first of all, before we go into another verse in the Bible, in the New Testament, that says, let us go, actually, sort of mimicking this, something that Thomas said. So Thomas actually helps us out in a lot of ways, okay? I mean, he prompted one of the greatest verses in the Bible, verse 6 of chapter 14 of the Gospel of John, okay, you know, when Jesus said, you know, in my Father's house are many dwelling places. If it was not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you, okay? I mean, Thomas was the one who asked him a question, where are you going? Okay, we don't know. We don't. Well, actually, we don't know the way. That came before about the mansions and things like that. But I mean, he prompted. You know, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except by me. So that's the one that he prompted. You know. So we always are saying, you know, doubting Thomas this and doubting Thomas that. I mean, Thomas really prompted Jesus to actually say, at least off the top of my head, two of the greatest verses in the Bible. Verse 6 of chapter 14 is one of the greatest. I mean, it's just up there with John 3:16. And the other one is found and recorded, okay, in John chapter 20, verse 28, where he said, well, actually, you know, he said it himself, actually, in chapter 20, verse 28, you know, ha theosmu, ha kuriasmu, the Lord of me and the God of me. So he actually said it himself. I mean, I'm just saying, you know, he answered, he answered Jesus. Okay, I mean, he wasn't saying, "Oh my Lord, oh my God." No, he was talking directly to Jesus. Okay, and that's just the deal. Now, before we go into the New Testament, seeing this, this almost the same phrase. Okay, let us go. And I was really looking for, for example, let us make. When we studied that the other day, I was pointing out that let us make is actually poiesomen. It's in the aorist tense. The sigma is pointing that out. The omega is pointing out this is a subjunctive, and from poieo. And the men is a personal ending, and it's a plural personal ending. Okay, so you don't need a pronoun there actually for the us business. I mean, actually, the men is pointing out the plurality. You know, the actually first person plural ending nature of it all because of the personal ending in the Greek verb. So you have personal endings sometimes in Greek verbs that point out either first or second or third person. You know what I'm saying? So that's where that comes from. And excuse me for that. My phone is really not acting well. Let me just get rid of that, and maybe it is acting a little bit sluggish here. I don't know what's really wrong with it, but that's just it. Now, well, since I got out of the NIV, it was in the NIV, and it's acting a little sluggish. Okay, or actually reveal to you the verse in question, the verse that I'm going to use. Now, Genesis chapter 11, verse 7 again says, before we leave it, it's so glorious from the NIV. It says, come, let us, and this idea that the NIV hit the Trinity, please stop. I keep on saying this, I mean, thousands of times in my studies. I mean, I almost get myself tired. That Jesus is found and recorded more. Is this clear? In the NIV than the King James by a count of 1,241 times to 971 times. By a whopping number of 270 times, the NIV has Jesus more than the King James. Now, is that the older NIV? I think that's the older NIV. That might be the older NIV from the 1970s or 80s. But one of the NIVs, let's just put it like that, has Jesus found more, okay, all right, than the King James. The King James is a wonderful Bible, but that's just a fact. They didn't delete Jesus. They have a more, okay? But this is not a King James only discussion, so let's get back on track. Now, it says again, this is glorious to the Trinitarian. Okay? Come, let us go down and confuse their language or speech so they will not understand each other. So, they were building this tower before we get into the Hebrew of it all. They're building this tower to the heavens, says Max McLean. Okay, let us build to the heavens. Okay, and so then God said, no. I mean, if I confuse their language, they're not going to be able to work together because they get. It's just like me right now. I'm in the Philippines, right? Now, I mean, I want to work right now, but with my father-in-law, but I can't do it. Why? I can't understand the dude. Like, he can't understand me. So how am I going to follow instructions like, take this bamboo over here, go over there, take this, take that? Okay, yeah, he can say, yeah, take it. But what am I going to do with it? So I can't understand the dude. I mean, I love, my father-in-law. That's not the issue. He's just one of the most nicest father-in-laws you ever want to have. I mean, and incidentally, my wife is pregnant now with Sean Donnelly. Our baby boy probably is going to be. And so, I mean, if it's a girl, then it's going to be, and then she's going to be Precious. The baby's going to be named Precious. But I mean, this basically, I think is a boy. So Sean Donnelly from General Hospital, I already have Anna Devane. So I mean, I can't lose, guys. I just need Robert Scorpio, just to, and that's it. I have the whole WSB team, okay, on my side. But listen, all jokes aside. I mean, I would love to work with my father-in-law, but I can't do it. I can't understand the guy. He speaks nothing of English, nothing at all. And I don't speak Cebuano. I mean, some things, Mayong Butay, good morning, good afternoon, good night. That's not enough to work. You understand what I mean? I mean, I might have to go to, California and work soon or something like that with Obed Vargas. You understand what I'm saying? My best buddy about. So that's just it. I mean, But this is what's going on here. I mean, God said, if I mix up their language, they can't continue to work and then build a tower to the heavens. All right. But where's this us business? Now, the Hebrew, I believe, is nereda. Nereda. It actually has the notion of descending. You understand what I mean? We're going to look at it right now. Okay? I hate to leave this verse. Let's read it again. It's quite clear. Come, let us go down and confuse. Okay, and confuse their language or speech, so they will not understand each other. Is that clear? Let us. Not, I will go down and confuse and confuse their speech. It doesn't say that. It says, let us. Now, why does it say that? But before we get into the Hebrew, and before we get into John chapter 11, you understand what I'm saying? Where it almost says the same thing by the lips of Thomas. Not that he's going to confuse somebody, but I'm just saying, let us go down and die with him like that, you understand? But before we get to that, why? I mean, listen. Why is it in the book of Genesis so many times, this us business, this Hebrew word, nu? You understand what I mean? Nu and you. That means us. I mean, that's just a deal. Na'aseh Adam. Let us make man. You understand what na'aseh means? Let us make. Okay? The Greek Septuagint has poiesomen. Just like, Mark chapter 9, verse 5. Let us make 3 tabernacles, one for you. And this is from Peter, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. Not knowing what he was saying. That was Peter at that time, you understand? This idea that he was the Pope, I mean, come on, stop. Come on, stop. You're reaching. Father Mitch Bakwa. The Aramaic. Come on, stop. Stop with the stop. Peter was not the Pope. Was Peter a Pope, says Julius Armanti in his book? That's the title. Was Peter a Pope? No. Okay, that's just it. That's just for my Catholic friends. This idea that Mary is the Queen of Heaven and Basilisa never appears with Mary anywhere in the Bible. We can't say to Jehovah's Witnesses that the coming of Christ, parousia, doesn't appear with aaratas anywhere. It could be a different construction, but still, invisible and coming doesn't appear back to back, like that in the Bible for Christ or for anyone. Invisible coming. You understand what I'm saying? You only find that in Abbott Costello. The invisible man. But we're not talking about Abbott Costello. We're talking about the Bible. Is Jesus coming invisibly? No. Invisible coming doesn't appear together like that. You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, Mary and Queen doesn't appear together. Incidentally, Queen, or Mary appears only 27 times in the Greek New Testament. It's not her all the time. All right. Now, that was just for my Catholic friends. I mean, just made my Catholic friends and buddies and pals and King James only knuckleheads, mad at me. So what? Now, let us go, no pun intended, to the Hebrew. Let's go. That's just it. Now, that's just, I was studying that. John chapter 1, verse 18, you know what I mean? And I said that no one has, is better translated, no one has perceived God at any time. You understand what I mean? No one has perceived God at any time. That's one of the meanings of horao. Now let's go to verse 7. As my baby continuously sleeps. Okay, you understand what I mean? She'll probably wake up at any minute and ruin my study like she always does. But anyway, I love her. You know what I mean? She's the only one that could grab my face. I had a mosquito bite the other day on my face and she grabbed it and I yelled. Goodness gracious. All right. It says come. Okay, well, what's that in the Hebrew? Let me get my magnification, guys, because sometimes I can't see the diacritics because I am visually impaired, okay? So let me just do that because the diacritics, I'm a diacritic dude, okay? I need the diacritics, okay? In some instances, in some words, I don't need it. I don't need them, but, but it's better with them for me than without them. What do you mean the diacritics? Well, I mean, these dots, dashes, and strokes. I mean, these are Hebrew vowels. That's just it. You know what I'm saying? So that's just it. Come. What's that? Well, haba. Okay? Haba, actually. Hey, with the T-looking thingy underneath it, that's an A. That's just as simple as that. Hebrew is not so simple. I don't want to make it like it's a simple thing to learn. It's not, though. I mean, I'm not going to lie. But it's an H here, a hey, that letter with the little tiny slit in it, okay, underneath the E in come. I mean, that's an H. That's all. It's found 2 times in the Tetragrammaton. That's all. Hey, it's a H. It means to behold, by the way. And then you have a T-looking thing underneath it. It's not a T. It's an A. It's an A class. Okay? And then so you have the bet right underneath the M in the word come. That's the Hebrew B, if you will. It can be a V also. So this is haba because there's another T-looking thingy underneath. It's called kamets, and it's an A class. It could be an O class as well, but over here it's an A class, and it's transliterated into A. H-A-B-A-H. Okay, so that's the deal. Hey with the kamets, bet with the kamets, and then the hey is silent. Okay, that's just it. So haba. Come. All right, now let's just see this thing. Let us go. Let's look at this, okay? You understand what I'm saying? All right, so let me put this for always. Just like that song, Always and Forever, you understand what I'm saying? All right, let us go down. Now I'm right under the word down, obviously. Okay, so I mean you have remember you read Hebrew from left or from right to left, I should say, from right to left, never from left to right, unless you're breaking up the syllables. You're not really reading through it. You're just breaking up the syllables. Just like you could parse Greek from left to right, but you're not really reading it. Okay. Um. So I mean Greek you read from left to right, like you do English, French, Spanish, Cebuano, Tagalog. I mean, you name it and claim it. Latin and stuff like that. But Hebrew and Aramaic and languages like that, okay, I read from right to left. Okay, so you have underneath the N in the word down, you have a noon. I know it looks like a little telephone thing, right? Like the old telephone thing you used to use on your ear, you know. And it has two dots underneath it. That's an E class, okay? Like in the word they. That's called sere. And so that's ne, okay? Now this is part of one syllable because the next letter that you're gonna read is an R, resh. It's like an opposite side looking R. Okay, that's how you remember it. Be careful. There's another letter in Hebrew that looks just like this a little bit, okay, and that's a D, but this is not a D. This is an R, okay. So underneath it you got a schwa. When that happens, you have one syllable, okay, ner. Okay, well, actually, ne re, though. I take that back. Ne re, okay. And then you have the letter that I said that looks like an R, your dalet, okay, dalet. And then you have the A class underneath it, so that's da. So ne re da. And the H is silent again, that's a hey. So you have a noon, N-O-O-N, and N. And then you have a resh, okay, and then you have a dalet, which is a D, and then you have a hey, and so those are all the consonants, and you have vowels underneath these consonants. Now, in Hebrew, unless the letter is silent, you pronounce the consonant first, and then the vowel, wherever it may be. It might be above the letter, it might be under the letter, it might be on side of besides the letter, or whatever the case may be. You read the consonant first, and then the syllable, and then the vowel after. So this says n, and then you have a underneath it. So and then the syllable is ne, and then the other syllable is re, and then the other syllable is da, nere da. Okay, nere da. Let us go down. Now, from the Hebrew word, okay, yarad. Yarad. Now, what's that? Well, let's check it out. Well, let me go like this. Okay, you understand? So you have the yod, which is found in the Tetragrammaton, and the word like haya. Okay, it's found like haya, and echyech also. I believe echyech has that, which is equal to the Tetragrammaton. And it's found in the word for day, yom, right? Okay, it's found in Elohim as well. It's found in Susim and Cherubim and Seraphim, angels of fire. You understand what I mean? So Yod, you have the Y, and I'm underneath the one in 3,381, and it looks like an apostrophe, doesn't it? Though, but that's the Hebrew Y. Okay, Yod. And then you have the T looking thinking again, so that's like in father. That's an A class. So it's just Yah. Yah, that's all. You pronounce the consonant first, Y, right? And then the A class underneath it, and then you have Yah. That's all there is to it. Now, what's the next letter? Well, you have the resh, just like you had in the other word. You understand what I'm saying? So that's Hebrew R is very difficult to pronounce. Okay? It's very difficult to pronounce. It's not pronounced like our English R. Let's just put it like that. And then the Greeks like their R, ra, to be pronounced r. They don't like ra. They don't like that. It's lazy for the Greeks. Okay, so I mean you have two different pronunciations for these letters. You understand what I'm saying? In Hebrew and in Greek. Now where am I though? Okay, wait for a second, because I think Let me see if I go like this. Okay, so that's I get it like this. So the lexical form, okay, is yara. Okay, actually yarad. So it's not let us go. Okay, it's just like let us make. It's not the lexical form. Okay, what's happening to my phone? I mean, my phone is really off today. Okay, I mean it's really bad. I apologize, guys. Okay, it's really jumpy. Okay, so and this is I can't get I want to get this out of the way because I don't want to stop the recording. So let's see if we can figure this out. So the Y and the A, you have the ya, and then the R and an A. But Angelo, it's not an A because it's not a T-looking thingy. It's a sort of hyphen or a minus sign in the mathematical equation looking thingy. Yeah, that's an A class also. It's pathach. It's a different sort of A class. Okay, it's A like in hat. The other one, the first one is A like in father. In modern Hebrew, there's no distinction between these two things. Okay, it's all of them are pronounced like in father. But in biblical Hebrew, there is a distinction. You know, that's the thing about biblical Greek and Hebrew, that there are distinctions between the vowel sounds. Okay, you know, there are distinctions. Okay, it's not like upsilon and eta are making the same sound like in modern Greek. Okay, and then you don't have any distinctions in the in the omega and the omicron in modern Greek. No, there are distinctions. You know, one is a O, one is a A. Okay, so I mean, I don't know why they watered down Greek a lot like that. I mean, you know, they made it maybe simple for foreigners to pronounce so they can go to their borders or something like that. I don't know. I have no idea. You know. So anyway, so ya and then the resh and then patach, pathach. So that's A like in hat. So when you see a T looking thingy, you're looking at an A class like in the word father for the most part. And when you're looking at the pathach, the little tiny like hyphen, that's an A class like in the word hat. So it's just as simple as that. Okay, ya la. Okay, but there's a D capping off that syllable, the second syllable. That's a dalet. Dalet. Okay. So the thing is that when Jesus in the Hebrew Bible says, "I am the way," he said, "I am the ha derek." Actually, derek is way in Hebrew. You understand what I'm saying? In Greek, it's a feminine word, hadas. Very strange, and it's very strange because the root of that is ends in an omicron, and you know usually those are masculine words, not feminine words like that. You know, hadas. You know, so but it has an article hey, so you know nowadays called e. So yarad, that's a D. So you got the yod with the kametz ya and the resh with the pathach and dalet. So rad, yarad. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? Transliterate it into YARAD. Okay, but it's just the other way around because you know Hebrew you read from right to left, so they have the Y toward the because we read it left to right, so it's not underneath the Hebrew Y. You understand what I mean? But anyway, this is just a deal. Now let's poke the bear here. Okay, in this Hebrew word. Okay, in the text itself of the Bible of Genesis chapter 11 verse 7 is different. So tell them that this was because you may find some resistance. Okay, it's like Call of Duty for crying out loud with the witnesses. You understand what I'm saying? You ever played Call of Duty before? That's just the deal. They may say to you, "Well, I'm tracing," and what's the number over here? Let me put a little bigger for me. 3381. They may say, "Well, you know something? I'm looking at this Hebrew word, okay, 3381, and I just see, yarad. I don't see nereda. I don't see let us make. Now, listen, in the Jehovah's Witness Bible, before we get into this text, I mean, it says what it says also there. Okay, let's go to a Jehovah's Witness Bible. Sorry, guys, I have a very bad cold. Okay, so let's go to the Old Testament. Okay, what is this? What's this? Close. Okay, let's go to Genesis, and I think they do have let us go, or whatever the case may be. Okay, very easy app to use. Okay, it's very clear. That's the good thing about it, for us Trinitarians, we could really find stuff very easily. It scrolls good well. And I was gonna say good, but my English teacher, God rest her soul, she can complain now, but still. All right, so that's just the deal. Now it says over here, um, wait for a second. What is this? No, what am I doing? Okay. Here it goes. Come, let us go down there and confuse their language in order that they may not understand one another's language. Okay? Perfectly done. I disagree with anything there, but look, this is a Jehovah's Witness app. Okay, understand? I guess that's the Greek P. Come, let us go. You see? Let us go. So that's confirmed by there. I mean, I don't know if they have it. Well, they're not going to have it in the 1950 version because it was only the New Testament, okay? All right? Translating the Old Testament was so hard for them. You understand what I'm saying? Okay? That's just a deal. I almost sound like Yoda, This is glorious. Come, let us go down. You see? They can't complain about our Trinitarian Bibles because that's what they say. Incidentally, Obed Vargas, my old buddy and pal that I just mentioned in this recording, actually said that the Silva Sod, the 2013 version of their Bible, of their scriptures, if you want to call it, there's a chapter missing. I think it's one of the Psalms, but he didn't really confirm it 100%. But there's a chapter missing. I thought this was the greatest Bible of all time. There's a chapter missing, guys. Well, they went on vacation and then they came back and they skipped a chapter. There's a chapter missing. I thought there were these great Greek scholars and Hebrew scholars or whatever the case may be. You understand what I mean? Incidentally, Fred Franz, you know what I mean? Yeah. Listen, 5 so-called scholars didn't know how to read Hebrew and Greek in court. That was a disgusting, despicable disgrace. All the 3 Ds, you understand what I'm saying? One person was living in Greece, and he knew how to read his modern Greek New Testament, but Walter Martin tested him out. Okay, what's the subject of the sentence in John 1:1? Do you know this guy didn't even know what the subject of the sentence was? This was one of the Greek scholars. Didn't even know that logos is the subject of the sentence. It's in the nominative case, guys. Goodness gracious. And just because it's the nominative case is in the nominative case, meaning a word in Greek, doesn't mean that it's the subject of the sentence. See Hebrews chapter 1, verse 8, okay? God is not the subject of the sentence there. Thranos is. Theos is not. You understand what I mean? Okay, fine. But still, you don't know that logos is the subject of the sentence in John 1:1, A, B, and C, alpha, beta, and gamma? Come on. Look. It says over here, come, let us go down. And down and down. You understand what I mean? Now let's poke the bear again. Let's go to the semantic range, to the semantic pool. Okay, this is really great, guys. They can't fight this stuff. It's in their Bible. Let us go. It's almost like I'm not gonna say it's almost like the Quran, but because the Bible's not the Quran, but it's just like their mindset. They don't believe in the Trinity like the Muslims don't, right? But yet in the Quran it says, we created this and we created that, and that and that. Okay, so if you don't believe in the Trinity, why was this we business in the Quran? I'm just saying. Okay, let me get rid of this again. My phone is really jumpy, guys. It's jumpy. Over here, to come or to go, yarad. Okay, it says over here to come or to go down, descend. Okay, that's the meaning of yarad. Now, nereda is the contextual form. Okay, so just tell the witnesses when they trace this Hebrew one, okay, 3381. Well, they're not going to see the biblical form. It's just like if you're tracing, you understand what I'm saying? Okay, theon from John 1:1b, and then you're tracing, I believe it's 2316, the word that the number that tags theos, right? Um, just like 430 tags Elohim in Strong's in the Hebrew side of things. Okay, you're gonna see theos. You're not gonna see theon. You're not going to see the accusative case construction or the genitive case construction or the dative case. Incidentally, the Holy Spirit is in, lie to God, Theo, is in a dative case. Dative case singular, you know what I'm saying? So the Holy Spirit is God. He's mentioned and recorded there in verse 3, Praxis Apostologic Acts of the Apostles. And then the identification of the Holy Spirit is God. Meaning he's God, Theo. It's in a dative case singular. You understand what I mean? Masculine, by the way. If you want the feminine side of the paradigm of theos, you see two constructions in Acts chapter 19, around verses 27 and 37, around there. I don't have it memorized, where you see thea with an alpha and theon with an alpha. Okay? That's just it. All right, so this means to descend. Okay, it says to come or to go down. Okay, so one of the Trinitarian members said, "Let us go down." Though the "us" is in the word in the text. It's not yarad. Okay, in the text of Genesis chapter 11, verse 7, it's the same word, but it's a different construction. So you have to translate that construction in the textual form. Okay, let us go. And you can't complain about it because the Jehovah's Witnesses have it in their Bible. You understand what I mean? Don't forget this word. Okay? It has H because it's talking about the Hebrew side of Strong's, So 3381 is the thing. It's the deal. But, so let us go down. Nereda. So we have all the Hebrew words at our disposal when it has to do with God. We have, of course, Elohim in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. We're not previewed to the number of the Trinity, but that's reviewed. Incidentally, I keep on forgetting to do this. My wife was pregnant, like I said before. Okay, now the pregnancy is called the periods of it trimester. The first 3 months is called the first trimester. Okay, 3. You know what I'm saying? And then trimester. And then the second part of the pregnancy is called the second trimester, and then the third part of the pregnancy, the final part, is called the third trimester. Now, there's a lot of pregnancies in the Bible. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, a whole bunch of people got pregnant. You understand what I mean? And you can tell me, what does that have to do with the Trinity? Well, this has to do with the Trinity. Tell the witnesses that. Now, I don't know if they get their women pregnant. I mean, when they're married, because they don't give them Valentine's Day cards. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know how that happens. It probably happens by mistake. Okay? Probably, there's nobody's getting called in for work or something like that. They ain't got nothing else to do, and so that's all how that happens. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, they're not the most romantic people on the face of the globe, guys. Okay, you guys, don't give no Valentine's Day cards, no flowers, no candy. I mean, no wonder you got money. I'm just saying. But what does that have to do with the Trinity? I mean, being pregnant. Okay. Well, first of all, they can say, well, Trinity is not in the Bible. Okay, and it's not. But now, I like to say that if the word Trinity was in every single verse of the Bible, more than 30,000 verses of the Bible, if it was in every single verse of the Bible, they'll still have an issue with it. Why? Well, let's say the word Trinity was in every single verse of the Bible, but Father, Son, and Holy Spirit wasn't at all in the Bible. They will be saying, yeah, Trinity is here, but it's not explained by Father, Son, and Holy Spirit like it is now. You know what I mean? So they'll try to figure out an angle to get away from it being the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that if you don't like something, you're gonna try to disprove it, even if Trinity was in the entire verse pool of the Bible. I'm just saying. Now, getting back to the trimester aspect of it all. Now, Trinity is not in the Bible, but trimester is not in the Bible either, but a whole bunch of women were pregnant. Okay? I mean, you're not going to deny, okay, the trimester, deal. Okay, that the pregnancy 9 months is in 3 stages. The first trimester, second trimester, third trimester. You understand what I'm saying? Okay? I'm just saying. So that's just it. So, I mean, trimester is not in the Bible, but yet it exists. Now, Elizabeth was when she was pregnant, you understand what I'm saying, receiving a visitation from Mary, she was undergoing her second trimester. And that's just the deal, because she was 6 months pregnant. That was the second trimester. But yet, that's not in the Bible, but that it exists. That's what I mean. Just like the Trinity exists, or subsists, even better than that. All right. Now let's go to, like I said before. Now I don't know if I can do this from here. Okay. This is way back here though, way back yonder. And I think I have it. Yeah, I have it over here. Now let's see what "let us go" appears in the New Testament. Now I already found, to my pleasure, okay, a verse where it says "let us make." Now remember, and I was going to give you the Hebrew word, so let me give them all to you, because this is, it's in our quiver. You know what I'm saying? It's in our weapon package, okay? Just like Chuck Norris said, you want it the easy way or the hard way? You JWs, I mean, you want it the easy way or the hard way? We could reach you or we could defeat you. Anyway, it's just a deal. Now, Elohim is the Hebrew word found and recorded in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 is na'aseh, let us make. Poiesomen in the Greek, a Septuagint. Praise God, he gets the glory, not me. What's the third Hebrew word proving the Trinity? At least the beginning stages of the teaching. Well, mim menu. Nu means us in Hebrew. Well, that's another Hebrew word found and recorded, though, in Genesis chapter 3, verse 22. Okay, you understand what I mean? Man has become like one of us. Okay? Of us is mim, men, nu. 2 consonants there in Hebrew reduplicated. Okay? You see the doubling dagesh in one of the mems there, and then you see the doubling dagesh in n there, the nun. Okay? So if you want to cheat, just say mi menu. You understand what I mean? That's what's that. Remember that nu means us in Hebrew. So we got Elohim, na'aseh, and mi menu. Or what's the fourth Hebrew word? Well, Genesis chapter 11, verse 7, we just saw it. Nereda. You understand what I'm saying? Nereda. You see? Nun with the sere, and resh with the schwa, and I believe Dalit, with an A class, I believe, and then the hey. But that's not it, guys. There's more. I mean, you have actually 6 times. It's not 4 like somebody said. There's 6 times that a pronoun is in the plural for God. It's not 4. Why? Well, verse 26 of chapter 1, let us make man in our image and in our likeness. We forget those other ours, okay? Let us make man in, our image and in our likeness. So, I mean, you have 2 more pronouns there, okay, that describe God. So it's actually 6. It's not 4 like we say sometimes, okay? We're just counting the verses. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, Genesis chapter 3, verse 22, Genesis chapter 11, verse 7, and then Lanu found and recorded in Isaiah chapter 6, verse 8, which is Lanu. That's the last Hebrew word that I want you to see. Not to mention, okay, Psalm 110 saying, the Lord said to my Lord. You understand what I'm saying? The Lord said to my Lord. Okay, Yahweh said to Adonai. Okay? That's just it. That's just all across the board. Not to mention that it's found and recorded in Zechariah chapter 2, verses 8 and 9. In some Hebrew texts, it's 12 and 13. The verses, you understand what I'm saying? Jehovah said Jehovah. What are you going to do about that? What are you going to do about Jehovah, Jehovah sending Jehovah? Jehovah speaking in verse 8. Let's just place it in verse 8 for now. You understand what I mean? Let's just say that it's in verse 8 for now, like an ASB, like that. Chapter 2, verse 8, that Jehovah is speaking. And then he's still speaking, and then he said that Jehovah sent him in verse 9. What are you going to do about that? And then there's a glorious hymn in verse 10. And then Jehovah will dwell with his people. Well, when did he do that? Well, he tabernacled among us, and we beheld his glory. That's just a deal. His glory. And the word became flesh. Okay? Kai ha logos egeneta sex eskenosen, tabernacled. Okay? That's just a deal. Now, I don't know if there's a word in English that is tabernacled. So I just dwelt. I mean, they just put dwelt or lived or whatever the case may be. I don't know if there's an English word tabernacled. Now, if there's an English word tabernacled, that could be a translation for that, for the Greek verb eskenosen from the Greek noun skene, I believe, right? Anyway, let's just read this. This is from Thomas himself. Let's read verse 16. Therefore, Thomas, there he goes again. Therefore, Thomas, who is called Didymus, okay, meaning the twin, right, said to his fellow disciples, let us also, the also is not there in the other text of Genesis, but anyway, still, let us also go so that we, okay, may die with him. I mean, come on, have some faith, Thomas. I mean, goodness, please. You tell that fox, okay? It's not my time. Tell that fox Herod that I'm not gonna die yet. That I got to do this and this and this. You understand what I'm saying? Even though Herod wasn't wasn't being spoken here, but I mean, have some faith. Let us go die with him. I mean, we're gonna die. Come on, man. I mean, have some faith, please. Let's look at the Greek construction. All right. Let's look at this app. I like the Greek P, guys. Now, this app is glorious because it has a really great Greek interlinear. I know that there are Greek interlinears out there, but this is the best. This is the best. Let's check this out. Now, let's go to John's Gospel, the Gospel Kata Ioane, and I used to say Kate. I don't know why. I don't know. I used to say Kate. I can't erase everything, guys. You understand what I mean? I mean, time will fail me, like the Apostle Paul says. You know what I'm saying? If you were to erase everything, I mean, that's why they put pencils on. Erasers on pencils, not pencils on erasers. Okay, yeah. I had to erase that. Let's check it out. Before my wife comes back. I mean, goodness gracious. As over here said, okay, what is this apen? Okay, it's just a capital epsilon. Apen, therefore, and that's un. Thomas, okay, actually in Greek is actually with a TH, Thomas. Okay, Thomas. Theta means divine, by the way. Okay, in and of itself. Now, it doesn't mean this being, Thomas, is a divine being. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that in and of itself, all of these Greek letters mean something. Alpha means rising. Beta means, nowadays called Vita, means basis or foundation. You understand what I'm saying? Gamma has to do with like a stem of a plant. Perfect letter for the letter to begin that word Genesis. Genesis in Greek, okay? I mean, sigma means to synchronize. Okay, so all of these letters mean something. Theta means divine. Okay? In and of itself. So that's why it's the first letter in the word for God, because it means divine in and of itself. You know what I mean? Excuse me, guys. So Thomas is actually the Greek. It's not Thomas. It's Thomas. So Thomas, it says over here, and it has a ha. Okay. You can say the one, right? But there's no translation here. Called, and that's legamenas, actually, legamenas, lambda, epsilon, gamma, omicron, nowadays called omicron, mu, nowadays called mi, epsilon, nu, nowadays called ni, omicron, final sigma, uh, didymus, okay, called didymus, to me, to the, I'm sorry, toys, from the 24 article paradigm, to the fellow, and that's sumethe ice, okay, su, okay, sumathetais, let us, or let go, it says let go over here, agomen, also is the Greek word, from the Greek word kai. It says go, us, and that's hemes. Okay, that, okay, and that's henna. Now, if you see henna, that's probably a subjunctive is coming soon. Okay, we may die, and that's a subjunctive right there. You see that omega before the personal ending men? That's pointing out the subjunctive in this word. Okay, apathanomen. Okay, apathanomen. Actually, apathanomen. And the omega is pointing out the subjunctive construction here. Okay, in the mood of probability or possibility. That we may die. That we may die. Okay, all right. With, and that's met, that's abbreviated. It's really meta, but met, because of the alpha coming up in the next word, him, autu, in the genitive singular masculine construction. So, I mean, that's not what we have in the Greek Septuagint. I could tell you right now, we don't have the same construction because it just means over here, and let me just get this again here. Okay, let me just get this over here. Fellow disciples, let go. Okay, agomen. Now let's poke the bear here in 71 here. Okay, let me see here. Okay, so that's 71. That's very early in the lexicon. It says over here definition. It says to lead. Okay, lead. Away. Bring. It says bring a person or animal. Guide. Okay. It says over here, spend a day, go. Okay, so I have all those connotations. Where's the Greek word? Ago. Well, this is ago. So this is ago. I mean, this is a wonderful word. It's one of my favorite words in Greek, ago. Found and recorded. It's a different construction. Found and recorded. Okay, in verse 14 of chapter 8 of Romans. Okay, those who are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God. Those are led by the Spirit of God. Conduct, lure, attract, bait. Dr. Barnhouse mentioned that in his study of Romans chapter 8, verse 14, that conduct, I mean, lure, I mean, lead, guide. I mean, ago has all these connotations. So this is from ago. You don't see ago there in the Greek Septuagint, I don't believe. Okay? Okay, because this has to do with lead. It doesn't really have to do with ascend, like going down. Let us go down. That's the meaning of yarad. You understand what I'm saying? So that's not going to be the same. But in English, you can point them to this verse. Okay, now I'm going to have to find maybe something where it says "Let us go down," in the Greek New Testament, and I have not done that yet. This is as close as I could get to it. Doesn't have the meaning of going down, but at least in English you get the let us business. Okay, let us go. You know what I mean? Okay, so that's just it. Now, let's see over here. Okay, what we have here again. Dynamis. It says over here, where it says, let's see, fellow. Okay, let go, and then also us is really, it's just hey mace though. It's not really, it's not, it's hey mace. It's from the, of course, hey, this is this is a hey mace paradigm. Hey mace, hey mon, hey mean, hey mas. Okay, this is a second. This is a first person plural pronoun. Okay. Now my baby's waking up. I might have to go, guys. Okay, that's just that I have just Now let's look at this though. It says agomen. Okay. Now let's check this out. This over here, okay, is in the present tense. And like I said, it's subjunctive. It's very easy to detect because of the omega, and it's active. Now, what is this? Well, could it just be a hortatory subjunctive? Okay, an exhortation by the disciple to his fellow disciples. Okay, to go with Jesus and die with him. Okay, so this could be something like that going on. Not a command, okay? Not a command, but there's no tho here or anything like that, or tho, whatever the case may be. But this is a subjunctive, but it's not a command though, and it's not a command. That's what I'm saying. Well, that's our study basically. Okay. What did we learn? Well, we learned, okay, and let's get back to it here, okay, in Genesis chapter 11, verse 7. That it says something like this in the book of Bereshit, the book of beginnings, the book of Genesis, if you will, in Hebrew. Come, let us go down. Okay, come, let us go down and confuse or mix up their language or speech, so they will not understand each other. Okay, so we saw that the Hebrew word is nereda, okay, from yarad, which means to go down, okay, to descend. Okay, it has that connotation. But the construction in the text itself of Genesis chapter 11, verse 7 has the connotation of it has us in it, the word us. We see that in naaseh. Same sort of construction. Okay? Naaseh, nereda. Same construction. Okay? The us is there in the text. It's not going to be in the lexical form. Just like the word kol, which means, I believe, like her voice or something like that, right? Kol. If I don't record it, and then we can get it right here. Okay? Let's just get it, though. And I believe that's in Proverbs chapter 8, verse 1, proving that, okay, logos is not being taught to be there, because he's not a she, and a her. Come on, let's start with the nonsense, And let's look at the book of Proverbs here. Okay, all right. Because somebody may say, like I said before, well, where is let us go? I don't see let us go when I'm tracing this Hebrew word. I see descend. I don't see let us go. Well, first of all, the Jehovah's Witnesses, like I said 100 times in this study, already have in their Bible, let us go. So there's no problem. That's the meaning of it. That's the meaning. They're just going to, pointing, throw in your face, well, this is the plurality of majesty. But there's no word that means king here. Okay, that's the thing. That's one argument to that, and I can bring many other arguments into discussion in a future study. But the first argument that we can bring is that, well, first of all, the word for king in Hebrew is not found there and recorded. You understand what I mean? Now, let's go to Proverbs chapter 8 here. Okay, and that's just it. Proverbs chapter 8, and the beautiful thing about verse 1s in the Bible, you don't have to do anything. Okay. Let's check it out. It says over here, okay, does not, okay, I see low there, the Hebrew, does not wisdom, okay, Sophia in Greek, by the way, cry out, okay, and then, let me see, understanding, lift up, it has to be over here, guys, okay, her voice. Now, let's check this out, okay? Now, Tony from Florida, a very charming Jehovah's Witness, if there's such a thing. You understand what I'm saying? Very charming, a briefcase sort of Jehovah's Witness, okay? A lexical nerd, to say the least. A wonderful guy, I'm not saying, I mean, you know, he's just a nerd. He thinks that Greek is just, you know, carrying, you know, vines with you. You know, there's, you know, to have vines is a great thing, and mounts and everything like that, but I'm just saying, you know, that's not knowing Greek, though. You know, that's not, you know. But, I mean, that's all they are. Now, this is the deal. Why am I mentioning this? Well, okay, her voice. But if you're tracing, okay, now let's check this out over here. If I could do it differently. Okay. If you're tracing the Hebrew word kol, now I'm right over where it says QOL. All the way to the bottom right is a QOL. Now above it, you got the lexical form, kol. That's not her voice. So when you're tracing this Hebrew word, you're not going to see her voice. That's the problem with the lexicons, that they're gonna give you not the. Sometimes they're not going to give you, hi honey, how you doing? Hi hon, they're not gonna give you the textual form sometimes. Okay, I just mentioned theon. When you're tracing theos, you're not gonna see theon in a lexicon. You're gonna see theos, unless they're speaking about it. Now, if you're looking at it, I'm almost finished, my love. Okay, and I'll give you the phone after. If you're looking at Brown, Driver, and Briggs, which I used to have in the United States, then they'll give you all of the forms in the body of that brick house of a Hebrew lexicon. Okay, they're gonna give you echadim. They're not just gonna give you echad. They're gonna give you echadim, found and recorded. I mean, in verse 44 of chapter 27 of Genesis, I believe. You know, go to your Uncle Laban's house for a few days. Well, I mean, if you're looking at if you're looking at a normal, okay, lexicon, okay, like if it has a der vines, it's not complete though. You know, Mouse is gonna have it. You're gonna see echad. You're not gonna see echadim. So somebody may say to you, well, I know that you're, you know, giving me that. Her voice, but it doesn't say her voice when I'm tracing this word. But you have to come back and say to them, okay, even though you're tracing this word in a 6963, okay, and it's gonna say kol, the Bible itself is gonna have a different form sometimes. It's gonna have the feminine. It's gonna say kola. The lexicon is gonna say kol. Now, what are the Hebrew letters? Well, the Hebrew letters here are kof, not cough, but kof is a Q, right? It looks like a P, by the way. And right under the 3 and 63 and 63. And under the 9, you have a wow, okay? And then you have the O class above it. So a dot above a letter, a consonant, when you're looking at that, you're probably looking at an O class, you know, Holem O class. So far as kol. And then you have the lamed, which is the L in Hebrew, is a very long letter to the top. And that's just, I mean, it looks like an upside down 4 or something like that. I'm right under the 6 and 69, 63. That big letter. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? That's a L. That's you know, lambda is equal to the sound of it is equal to to the lamed in Hebrew. They're both L's, lambda in Greek and lamed in Hebrew. So but that's kol. So when you're looking at the text, it's gonna say something different. It's gonna say, you understand what I'm saying? It's gonna say cola, cough, wow with the O class. Okay, fine. Lamed is the same thing, but then it's gonna have a comments underneath the L, which is the A class, and then the hey. You see, the hey. It's gonna have an H. Now, what does the H do sometimes in Hebrew? Well, like a T can do in Hebrew, also in modern Hebrew, it makes a word feminine, like in Isha. Isha. Ish means man in Hebrew, or Adam. Ish means man in Hebrew. But when you say Isha, it changes from man to woman. So just tell the witnesses or anybody else that's just tracing the stuff like Tony from Florida was saying, oh, I don't see where it says her voice, because I'm just tracing this Hebrew word, and it says voice. I don't see her voice. So just say that in the lexical form, you're not going to see the full construction. You're going to see the full construction, kola, in the Bible itself, proving and indicating that logos is not even taught to be here in Proverbs chapter 8, verse 30. I was brought forth. Oh, I mean, come on. It says she, and her. Well, logos, Jesus is not a her, okay? He's a he. So, that's not him in Proverbs chapter 8, okay, all across the board. So we saw that in, if I could get it back, that'd be wonderful. Okay, let me see if I could get this back over here. The Trinity is mentioned, okay, in Genesis, okay, in this text of Genesis chapter 11, verse 7. It says, let us go down. Like I said before, they were building a tower to the heavens, these sinners. And so they were making a skyscraper. I mean, they were making a building. And the top of the building probably had different sorts of adoration to different sorts of gods. And God said, no, I don't like what they're doing. I'm not gonna destroy man off the face of the earth. I did that already in the flood, but I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna come down and confuse their language and speech, so they won't work together. And I just said in the study, and my wife is here. I'm not saying nothing about my father, my father-in-law that's wrong. The reason I can't work with Papa is because I can't understand him. So God says, I'm going to confuse the language of these people so they can't work together. So they're building a building to the heavens, to the sky. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go down and I'm going to confuse their language and speech so they can't work together. So after God went down, incidentally he said, let us go down, proving the Trinity. If there wasn't a Trinity, if God was only one person, he'll say, I'm going to go down. He didn't say, I'm going to go down. He said, let us go down. Us. Us means more than one. You understand what I mean? So we saw that, and the scriptures cannot be broken. And we already saw, other Hebrew words for, God that has to do with the Trinity. Elohim is plural, just like horses is susim. Okay, faces is panim. You see, cherub, that class of angel, is cherubim. Seraphim, the angels of fire. So Elohim is in the plural. It means God, but it's in the plural. It means more than one. Not more than one God, but more than one person to God. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, and in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, says, let us make. Na'aseh in Hebrew. Let us make man. Na'aseh Adam. Let us make man in our image and after our likeness. See, let us make. He didn't say, I'm going to make man. No, let us make man. See, proving the Trinity again. And then when we go to Genesis chapter 3, verse 22, it says, man has become like me? No. Man has become like us. The Hebrew word menu. Remember that nu means us in Hebrew. But we're not even finished there. This says in Genesis chapter 11, verse 7, let us go down. You see how the us is there in the text. And then we saw in Isaiah chapter 6, verse 8, that it says lanu. Remember, nu means us. Lanu means who will go, quote, for us. For us is lanu in the text. And we saw in John chapter 11, verse 16, that Thomas in the Greek says, let us also go. Now, did he mean just him, that he's going to go by himself? No. Let us go, okay, all right, means more than one person, okay, um, was exhorted to go with him. Okay, let us go. Let us go with him, with Christ, so we may die with him. Okay? So we see all these different constructions. And that's why I mentioned that this study is called the Trinity in Genesis, because we're seeing a little taste of the Trinity. It doesn't say three until you get into Genesis chapter 18, where three men visited Abraham. Okay, all right, and that might have been the Trinity visiting Abraham, or maybe it's just an example of how many persons are in the Trinity, three, um, uh, and that's recorded there in Genesis chapter 18, where three visited, okay, Abraham, and this is said to be God in the text there of chapter 18 of Genesis. So when you see in the New Testament, Jesus, before he went to heaven, he said, make disciples of all nations, baptizing them, okay, baptizantes is a plural, that's a, I mean, not the, there's a participle there, baptizantes, participle, the New Natal is pointing that out. Baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. So you see three there mentioned by Christ in Matthew chapter 28, verse 19. This is Angelo Quinones giving glory. Total glory to the God of Israel. God is not the God of the dead, but of the living. And that means that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were very much alive at the time that Jesus of those was. So anyway, please give me a comment on the screen. And I hope that you enjoyed the study. And I look forward to giving you other teachings that have to do with John chapter 1, verse 1, and other verses that comes into discussion, into the discussion with us and so-called Jehovah's Witnesses or anybody else that comes between people and the truth. Okay, so we need to actually just read the Bible. Read it. It's very clear. It's very plain. And I always say that the Old Testament is in the Old contained. The New Testament is in the New explained. The Old Testament is in the Old revealed. The New Testament is in the Old Testament is in the Old concealed. The New Testament is in the New revealed. Thank you.